Savvy Business Radio, drawing out the best from our guests with our host, Christina Nichman.
Our guest today is Misty Boyd, born in 1983 with spina bifida, the same birth defect of her main character in her latest book, Carissas Law. Upon Misty's arrival into this world, her parents were told she would be mentally and physically challenged and dependent on others for her entire life. The doctors proposed that her parents withhold feeding and let her die. This was an unacceptable option for her parents, and today, 34 years later, Misty is happy, healthy. While there has been obstacles along the way, she walks, talks, and is fully independent. Today, Misty shares her novel on this subject, Carissas Law. Get your copy today at all major retailers. Hi, Misty. Welcome to Savvy Business Radio. How are you today?
I'm great.
I'm so glad you're here. Our good friend Joshua connected us, and you've written a wonderful novel, Carissas Law, and you're going to share a little bit about your book and what brought you to writing it. But before we go there, to share with the audience a little bit about your backstory and what brought you to where you are today.
Well, I was born with a birth defect called spina bifida, and it wasn't caught on ultrasound where an abortion would have been offered. But instead, when I was born, my parents were given the option to withhold feeding and withhold treatment and allow me to die in my incubator.
Nuts.
Wow. Yeah, they were told that I would be mentally retarded, that I would never walk, never talk, that basically I would sit in my wheelchair and be non-functional as a human being. And the most merciful thing to do for me was to allow me to die, because I was probably going to die anyway.
Wow. Wow, that is tremendous. I can't even believe they offer something like that. Now, I don't even know what spinal bifida is. For everyone else listening and who might not know what it is to begin with, just share, what is that?
Well, when you're forming, your spinal cord and your brain kind of develop at the same time. Your brain starts at one end, and the bottom of your spinal cord starts at the other end, and they meet in the middle, kind of like if you're zipping up a jacket. But my jacket, if you will, didn't zip up all the way, and there's kind of a hole.
Oh.
And so my spinal cord is not connected all the way down.
So that's why they said probably you wouldn't walk and be functional, because there probably maybe the spine won't connect the nervous system, and hence it won't reach the legs and be able to have you walking about. And why would they think that you would be mentally retarded?
Well, along with spina bifida comes a condition called hydrocephalus, which is Latin for water on the brain or fluid on the brain.
Okay.
And the cerebrospinal fluid that normally travels from your brain down your spinal cord and back up again, that's the natural path that it's supposed to take, but it gets trapped in hydrocephalus in your brain, which makes your brain expand, which makes your brain press on the outsides of your skull, which obviously causes brain damage. And if you don't treat it ever, then it causes death.
Wow. So take me through what your parents went through when they got that decision. What were they feeling, thinking? What did they decide? Well, we know you're here today, so they didn't decide to kill you. Thank God. God bless.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, my mother obviously was extremely terrified, extremely heartbroken, because, you've got, these doctors saying this baby that you just gave birth to, well, she's dying. You may as well, instead of letting her suffer to her death, you may as well just let her go, be merciful, give her mercy and her without having to suffer. Yeah. And also, I was born on my dad's birthday. Oh. So, happy birthday, your daughter is dying. Oh. It was absolutely devastating, I assume.
Yeah, I would assume too.
But, yeah. But my parents were Christian people, and they believed that God was in control of everything. And they told the doctors, you are going to do every possible thing that you can to treat her. You're not going to allow her to die. If she dies, if God takes her, that's fine. the best of your ability, you're our child to death.
Yeah. Wow. And it actually worked out for you. How did that work out? Were they praying a lot? Did miracles come about that your parents and the doctor didn't expect, or did the therapy start to work? How did that work out?
Well, the problem in diagnosis and prognosis of spina bifida is that medical students and nurses are given about a paragraph, maybe 2 paragraphs on spina bifida, and the textbooks that they're using are so outdated that they are giving prognoses that are also outdated. So the information given to my parents was not in line with current medical practices that are keeping us alive today. I'm part of one of the first generations that is actually living through spina bifida into adulthood.
Wow.
And so my parents were given information that was so outdated that I was almost killed over it.
Wow. And it also boggles my imagination that their idea to handle something, even if they had found out during pregnancy, was to abort it. And yeah, that's just nuts. Where is it today? When a parent is told that your child has spina bifida, how are they handling it today?
Well, if you are extremely blessed, you get a doctor that says your baby has spina bifida. I don't know what's going to happen. And there are plenty of options that don't include abortion. There's a fetal surgery that you can have where they actually open the mother up, go inside her uterus, and repair the spina bifida, and then close her back up.
Nuts. Wow.
And then she gives birth again in a few weeks when the baby's fully developed and ready. And that is said to reduce damage quite a bit for babies with spina bifida. If you are blessed, the doctors are still offering abortion and saying the baby's going to die. You might as well go ahead and, start over. You can have a new baby.
Oh.
You don't want this one.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, this person doesn't matter. Get a new one.
Yeah.
But, you're a living example that that's not true. So what happened to you when you were growing up? Did you have difficulty, or were the doctors wrong about their total diagnosis?
Well, like I told you in the beginning, they were told that my parents were told that I would never walk or take care of myself in any manner. Today, 35 years later, I walk with short leg braces. I can walk around my house without them. But for the community and longer distances, I use them just because I get tired.
Yeah.
But obviously, I'm able to talk. I'm married. I wrote a novel. Basically, spina bifida is something that happens while I'm taking my meds or while I'm taking care of my medical care, and then I go and I live my life.
Yeah.
It's almost a non-issue.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So this brings us to what brought you to write your book, which has a character dealing with the same thing, Carissas Law. How did that work out that you decided to write the book?
Well, I was in my early 20s, I guess, and I decided to look into what's happening today as far as spina bifida, because I knew my backstory, but I decided to see, hey, have we come anywhere? Are we making progress? Are these babies, are they being given more hope? Because obviously there's an entire generation of us that are doing quite well. And so I thought, let me look into it, see what good is coming. And what I unfortunately found is absolutely no good has come. With all of the medical progress that we've made, babies are still being aborted every single day. And it hurt me. It broke my heart that, you can be pro-choice until the choice is you. And every one of these little babies that gets aborted, or every mother that I meet that says they're telling me to kill my baby, I can't look away and say, oh, it's just a baby. That's me.
Yeah. And
so
wow. I get you. You know what's making me really sad here is because I was born 3 months early. So the doctors told them, well, your baby's going to die and there's really nothing we can do. I don't think they offered her because I was born in Germany, the let's stop feeding her bit, but she didn't plan on me coming so early. But it was a really big indication that I wouldn't live. And maybe even here, being that abortion becomes so prevalent and the option to use when things just don't go the way you like, just abort it. That's the option to go with. And most likely here, they would have offered that to her. And it's sad. And my mom had always grown up with the idea, even into adulthood, no matter what child she had. And my brother and sister who came 14 years after me, they told her, listen, you're too old, you have toxemia, you should just abort. And she was like, heck no, I'm not aborting any child. If it doesn't work out, I end up dying, I don't want to, but we'll see what God's plan is. But no, they're two healthy adults now who have children of their own. But it's, how do we ever get, Misty, I got to ask your opinion on it. How do we ever get to a society that approves murder of your unborn children? I do not understand that. I do not understand how certain people in politics have convinced the public that it's okay to murder your own children. I don't know how, and that they convinced them that it's a right, your God-given right, no less, like to do this, and that it's your body to kill your unborn child. I don't understand how that ever came about. What's your take on that? That drives me nuts.
Well, I think on every level, we've walked away from God, and we have devalued life to the point where if it's inconvenient, well, that's okay. You don't have to deal with it. Just go get an abortion. Nobody has to know. It's fine. Yeah. That's not a baby. It's cells. It's just cells. Just go get them scraped out. That's not a human.
Wow. And Misty, you know what's interesting? I've taught to people, and I've said this in my show before. I went to many years ago this spiritual retreat, and everyone there were a mixture of people. Some people saying they were Christians, some people who were Buddhists, whatever it might be. All mixture of people and faith and different values. And on one of the days, the guy running the thing said, okay, we're going to have this thing in the morning where people hold on to things they haven't forgiven themselves for, stuff they're carrying around deep inside their soul. I want you to come before the group and tell everyone something you've never been able to forgive yourself for. And we're going to help you get through that and forgive yourself, whatever. And it was amazing because there was 80 women in the room, and 90% of them got up there and said they couldn't forgive themselves because of an abortion. And it is something they truly believed was okay to do. No one told them in their family that was wrong or they couldn't do it. They weren't Christian. But they were on the floor weeping in a puddle saying, I can't get over what I did. I know that was my baby. And so I find it so sad, this myth that's been fed to the public that, oh no, don't worry about it. You're not doing anything wrong. It's totally okay to murder your own baby. I just hope that people listening into this will begin to think, because look at both of us. I was 3 months early. If she'd been here and they had said, here's the option, just let's do, what's it called? Long-term abortion, or, when you're further along. I'm sure something like that could have been offered in some states. Or in your case, okay, she's sick, let's just abort her. It's not going to work out. But I'm hoping people listening in will hear both of us. Look at us, two adults doing great things in the world, having a family, contributing citizens. Look what the world would have missed out on having two people that really want to be here and are adding value to life.
Right. I mean, and going back to what you were saying about those women who are abortions, I think no matter what society says to you about that it's fine, it's okay, it's not really a baby until it's born, I think that the spirit inside of you knows that was a child. I think that you, somewhere in you understand that was not cells, that was your baby.
Yes.
And that's heartbreaking to me, that the world can convince you otherwise until it's too late. And then you have to carry that for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
That's awful.
No, it is. Yeah. But I want everyone, if you'd gone through it, to realize that, God forgives you. Jesus forgives you. just
absolutely
repent and say, like these girls did. They were a weeping, crying mess. They totally were sorry for what they did. If they could go back, they would undo it. And these were not, I would say 90% of them that were up there were not Christians in any shape or form. They don't believe in a Christian God, but they knew in their heart of hearts it was wrong, and they would go back and not do it. And they would love to have that awfulness again out of their spirit, and they can. But here today, now you've written this book, and you have this character who is with spina bifida. Share how that came, that you've created the novel, and how it got to where you are today. Because you had the idea that I need to do this, but then how did it get pen to paper to actually the book being created?
Well, I just woke up one morning, I think it was a Tuesday, and I just felt it in my spirit that it's time to do something about this. And so I sat down at my laptop, and my husband came home from work that day, and he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I think I'm writing a novel."
Yeah.
Okay. Like, I guess I just do weird things. I don't know. He just kind of didn't even react to it. And then, after about 3.5 months, I had this novel sitting in front of me, and I thought, wow, this could really change something. And so I sent it off to one publisher, and within a few months, they called me back and said, "We want this. We want to send you a contract. Let's do this." Awesome. And so Yeah.
So when you went through this, is there a reason that you decided to not make it like maybe, your memoirs, or is this character kind of sort of your memoirs taken with artistic license?
I would say that it is pretty much my memoirs taken in a fictional direction. Okay. A lot of my friends will say, at first I tried to deny it, but a lot of my friends say, Carissa is you. Mm-hmm. And I would say, "This is a wheelchair. She's not me." And they go, "No, but really, when I read her, I see you. Difference is she's sitting down. And that's not really a difference." So, and a lot of the things, that happen in the novel, I've pulled straight from my real life. Like, there's the story of when the dad and the mom have just given birth to Carissa, and the doctor comes in and says, "We need to stop this. We need to stop suffering. We need to let her go." I put that in the novel. And so a lot of the things that are in the novel came actually out of my real life.
Wow. Yeah. And what happened to you, and probably many other people out there who have dealt with this. What do you want to say to any potential moms or moms and dads going through getting a diagnosis like this?
I want to say, listen to the doctor that tells you, "I don't know," because they don't know. Spina bifida is so different in every case that you cannot predict from the moment that they're born what they'll be doing when they're 10 or 35 or 75. You can't know. So listen to the doctor that tells you, "I don't know." Do not listen to the doctor that says there's no hope, because I'm living proof that there's hope. And I have 1,000 friends with spina bifida that are also living proof that there's hope. And so there is hope. You can have hope. Keep your baby and let your baby tell you what he or she is going to do. They're the only ones that know, them and God.
Absolutely. That is so powerful, Misty. And, I heard a TED Talk recently by a woman who has a incurable disease, and I forgot the name of it, but it's something that affects your lungs, and eventually you usually die young. And she, at this point, would live much longer than doctors anticipated. And she was up there on the stage, probably about 17 years old, giving this talk, having to speak very slowly, softly, and take a lot of breaths because her lungs are very much affected. But it was interesting because she said, "People keep feeling sorry for me." And I'm like, no, I'm happy to be alive. I'm happy I'm not dead. I'm grateful for the time I have here, whatever time it is. And that's something that brings to mind for me. A doctor might tell a parent, "Well, they'll probably only live a very short life." Well, then it's a short life, and that's what God has granted them here to do. And who knows what impact they can make on the world and your life and the people around them's lives, whatever time they have here on this planet. None of us is guaranteed the time that we have here. It could be a moment, a year, 10 years, 60 years, 100 years, whatever. But, who are you to decide that is less significance than, someone who lives a long life?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I believe that my dad will tell you every child makes an impact. Every person that is allowed to live makes an impact. No matter how short their life is, how long they're allowed to live on this planet, it's for a purpose, and you make an impact.
Yeah, absolutely. And on a not same degree level, but thinking about the gifts that God gives us, we were granted this beautiful little dog 2 years ago from the ASPCA, and they found him on the street. He was starving. I think they'd thrown him out on the street. Honestly, he's so good with people. I think he was living with an older couple that died. But he's been brought so much love to this family and to my husband's parents who are old, and he makes them happy. And it goes to show that God's love comes through so many different things. And some people could think, it's just a dog, whatever, and he had no value, but he's a living thing that God put here on this planet who brings joy. And people bring even more joy, especially when you're a human being and a child. So, take God's gifts and don't take them for granted.
Right.
Well, this has been tremendous. I don't want people to leave without finding out how they can get an awesome copy of your book, Carissas Law. How can they do that?
Well, you can go to Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com. Or if you're in the Houston area, I'm going to be at the Barnes & Noble in Webster on December 13th from 5 to 7 p.m. You can come see me.
Wow. So they can come see you, and again, tell them where it's going to be located again?
It's going to be at the Barnes & Noble in Webster in the Baybrook Mall area from 5 to 7 p.m. on December 13th.
Wonderful, wonderful. So everyone go get Carissas Law at all major book retailers, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Get it today and share with all your friends. So that anyone ever going through a decision like this does not ever feel pushed to make a decision that will change your life for the worse. And again, I just have to thank you, Misty, for being so brave to share your story and your book today on Savvy Business Radio.
Well, thank you for having me.
Savvy Business Radio broadcasts worldwide via a large podcast network, celebrating business owners, entrepreneurs, influencers, and successful individuals. Find out about our paid sponsorship opportunities or how to become a guest. Call 732-474-7375 or email Christina at SavvyBusinessRadio.com.